We all love skylights, right? They just flood our homes with all this amazing natural light. But what happens when that beautiful feature starts to become a hidden problem? Today, we're going to dive into something that's super important, but honestly, most of us never even think about it: skylight resealing.
You know exactly what I'm talking about, don't you? That faint, kind of brownish spot that shows up, and you just hope that if you ignore it long enough, it'll magically disappear. It's a classic homeowner nightmare, and it often points to a culprit you might not suspect at first.
Yup, that's it. That little stain is very often a direct signal from your skylight basically telling you its seal has failed. Now, before you panic, don't worry, we're going to break down exactly what that means and, more importantly, what you can do about it. All right, so what is a skylight seal anyway? And why do they just give up on us? Let's get into the basics and take a look at the real-world things that put these seals to the test. The easiest way to think about it is like this. It's renewing the protective gasket that stands guard between your cozy living room and, well, the outside world. And it's not just about stopping leaks. It's about keeping the entire protective shell of your home strong and intact. And here's where it gets really interesting, because it turns out your location plays a huge role in this. In a place like New Jersey, for instance, you've got these brutal hot summers and then freezing cold winters. That constant cycle of expanding in the heat and shrinking in the cold just wreaks havoc on skylight seals, making them crack and wear out way faster.
Okay, so you get why seals fail, but the real question is, how can you tell if yours is in trouble? Well, don't worry, we're about to turn you into a skylight detective. Let's talk about the clues you need to be looking for.
This is your checklist right here. First up, water stains. I mean, that's the big, obvious one, right? The skylight is practically screaming for help. Number 2, drafts. If you feel cold air, that means you're losing energy and literally throwing money out the window. Then there's condensation. If you see moisture inside the glass, the seal is broken. And finally, if you can actually look up and see cracked, crumbling material, that's your smoking gun. So, you've done your detective work, you've found a problem. Now what? Well, this is usually where you call in the pros. So let's pull back the curtain on the whole resealing process so you know exactly what to expect. Look, professionals have a system, and it's pretty straightforward. It always starts with a really thorough inspection to see how bad the damage is. Then comes the most important part, the prep work. They have to carefully remove all the old failing seal and get the area perfectly clean. After that, they apply a brand new high-quality sealant. And finally, they do one last check to make sure that new barrier is totally waterproof. It's a process that's all about precision.
Now, I know what you're thinking. Can't I just grab some caulk and do this myself? And I get it. But this slide really breaks down why that might be a risky move. A DIY job can so easily go wrong, leading to even more leaks and maybe even worse structural damage. When you hire a professional, you're paying for their expertise, the right tools, the best materials, and usually a warranty. It's the difference between a temporary patch and a real long-term solution.
All right, let's talk about the payoff, because this isn't just about plugging a leak. It's actually about making some serious upgrades to your home's comfort, its value, and its overall health. The benefits here are huge. We're talking about better energy efficiency, which means lower bills. You're making your home more comfortable, no more weird drafts. You are preventing a potential disaster, like major water damage or even mold, and nobody wants that. You're also boosting your property value. It all adds up to saving a ton of money in the long run by avoiding those massive repair bills down the road. Okay, let's talk numbers. What's something like this going to cost? Well, the typical range for a standard job in New Jersey is somewhere between $300 and $800. And when you think about what it would cost to repair a caved-in, water-damaged ceiling and all the drywall, yeah, this starts to look like a pretty smart investment. You know, at the end of the day, the best fix is not needing a fix in the first place, right? This is all about being proactive and getting ahead of the problem. So the big takeaway here is, don't wait for that dreaded water stain to show up. The advice is to get your skylights checked out every 5 to 10 years, especially if you live in a place with those big weather swings. You know, think of it like an oil change for your car. It's just simple, preventative maintenance that saves you from a massive breakdown later on. And really, that's what it all comes down to, isn't it? That skylight is supposed to be this beautiful window to the sky, bringing all that light and joy into your home. The question is it also an open door for damage?
By knowing the signs and being proactive, you can make sure it's only the good stuff getting in.